Hello, I would like to call the September 28th Finance Committee meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. We do have a quorum present, so we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. My name is Donovan O'Connell. I am the new chair of the Finance Committee, so welcome everybody. We have just about a full house here, so thanks everybody for making the time. We do have 3 new members this year, so I thought if we could start off, if you could each maybe go through and just give a little bit of an introduction. I think that would be great. Nancy, if you don't mind starting.
Sure. Nancy Sarro. I live on Equestrian Drive, if anyone knows where that is. It's out, I guess everybody calls it out country. I've lived in North Andover since 1996. Raised 3 kids through the school systems here. Now they're all young adults. And my career is mostly with Philips Healthcare in West Andover in finance, so happy to be here.
Great. Good. Brianna?
Hi, my name is Brianna Stetson. I live on Chestnut Street. We've been here for about 5 years. I have 2 young kiddos, a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, kindergarten, preschool. Schools have been amazing for us so far. Our son has special needs, so we love the school systems. I actually have a marketing background, so I oversee key accounts for our largest clients. I'm in advertising fields agency, so overseeing about a book of $250 million in business. So
Great.
excited to be here.
I'm Eva Pastor, and I live on Walker Road. I am also on the Board of Trustees where I live, and I work for the City of Methuen. I'm the junior accountant there, and it will be 3 years since I've moved here, and my son's in the middle school here.
Great. Good. Well, thank you, ladies. We really appreciate you volunteering to serve with us. It should be a fun time. I think I'm a little sarcastic in that, but no, we're all fun and nice people, so I think that part will at least be good for you. Okay, so next we'll come to the public comment portion of the meeting, and as I see no public here, I would move to the next item, which is the approval of minutes. So our minutes are in your packet from July 15th. If somebody wants to look them over and make a motion, and I would just mention that if you weren't at the meeting, I don't think you can vote on the approval of the minutes. So,
I'll move to approve the, I'm sorry, am I cutting ahead?
I might be wrong.
I don't think it was at that one.
Oh, okay.
I move to approve the minutes as of July 15th, 2021.
Gentlemen, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Minutes are accepted. Okay. Our next order of business is, okay, review of the Finance Committee policies and rules of procedure. So I put this on the agenda just, I think it's in our policies and rules of procedure that we have to vote on the adoption of these annually. It's supposed to be at our first meeting, but I figured since we had new members, and I don't remember the last time I looked at them, to be honest with you. I thought that I'd put them on the agenda. They should be in your meeting packet. I think if everyone can take a look over, between now and the next meeting and see if there's anything that you think is missing, anything you want to discuss, we could put it on the agenda for next meeting, make any edits, talk about it, and then vote to approve them if that sounds good to everybody. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about, I read it, and there's a few typos and a couple things if you want to talk about that now.
I wasn't
Or if you
prepared
want,
to
we can
with the
bring them up
typos.
next week.
Yeah,
Next
let's,
time, that's fine.
if you don't mind.
Nope, not at all.
Okay. I think we are literally cruising through this. Okay, so then a review of the budget and calendar and key milestones is our next item. So I had hoped to have that in your meeting packet as well. But the Board of Selectmen has not approved it yet. They will approve it at their upcoming meeting, and then it will become final, and I will have Jillian provide everybody with a copy of it. I have seen the draft. I know last week they sent out instructions to the department heads for the capital improvement plan requests. So it is in motion, at least that part of it. And like I said, the Board of Selectmen, I have been told will approve it at their next meeting. It will be final, and then we can distribute it. And then if you guys have any questions, we can talk about it once we see it in its final form.
Is it possible at all to get like a rough talk through of how
Yeah.
maybe the
Oh.
timelines and?
Yeah, so you know what, I can pull up I actually did pull up the draft calendar here, so I can just, well, I'm not sure I'm supposed to I should
Okay.
run through it publicly, but,
Okay.
I don't think it's a problem. If it's posted, you can talk about whatever's posted.
I don't know if it is though.
Okay.
But let's put it this way, if it's gone in front of the Board of Selectmen, I don't know, because I haven't watched all the meetings.
It hasn't, is my understanding. It's
Okay.
going to this next meeting.
Okay,
So
Okay.
I think to err on the side of caution.
Sure.
But, yeah, I can discuss it with you.
but we'll get that several days before our next meeting.
We will get it next week.
Well, and also, if all of you, if you watch the meeting too, that's very helpful.
Yep. Okay, so next we have the Revenue and Fixed Cost Committee. So, I'm going to have to refer to my notes on this one. So, firstly, a little bit of explanation. The Revenue and Fixed Cost Committee advises the town manager on revenue, other financial sources, and fixed cost projections for the town's operating budgets. It's made up of 5 members, 2 of which are appointed from this board. Last year, Sasha, our former chair, and I served on that committee, along with Dr. Gilligan, Dr. Mealy, and Lynn Savage, the finance director. So we need 2 volunteers from this august board to do that. I am happy to do it again if that helps. So if we have 1 volunteer, we can make it work. If we have 2 volunteers, I'm happy to step aside. But I know in the past we've not, there's, not everybody is jumping to serve on it. So I figured I would at least throw it out there that I would be more than willing to do it again if we don't have to.
It might be helpful if you could tell them a little bit about it and what the commitment is, because there's a couple meetings, right?
Yeah, so the commitment is probably, once a month, once every 6 weeks, a short meeting. Usually Lynn Savage will schedule it in the mornings, like a 9 o'clock, meeting. We had been doing it virtually last year, jump on a Zoom meeting, and, Lynn puts together a short agenda. We walk through it, talk about the upcoming fixed costs and the revenues that are coming in. Lynn will usually walk us through any, changes that she's seeing, any anomalies, that sort of thing. And that's really about it. I mean, we probably met 4 or 5 times last year, I think.
Starting about when?
Well, so Lynn would like to schedule the first meeting shortly. So I told her we would find her 2 folks to serve on it tonight, and I would get her those names so that she could get in touch and start to schedule the first meeting. So.
For those of you who are new, it's also a really great opportunity to get kind of an in-depth
That's a good point.
overview of the town's budget. It really is. I served on a committee similar to that, because like when dinosaurs roamed, and I was doing that. It was a slightly different committee, but nevertheless, I mean, because you're just one-on-one with the town manager and
That's right.
and Lynn Savage, who they're amazing, and it's just a great way to learn a tremendous amount of information. So-
Yeah, so that's a great point. Melissa is part of, she's not part of the committee, but she does attend all of the meetings and participates quite a bit. So,
Does it have to be the same 2 representatives from this group, or could it be like on a rotating basis?
no, it will need to be the same 2
Okay.
for the meetings, yeah. Yep, it will. So if we get 1 volunteer, that doesn't? Yeah, okay. And then if somebody else wants to do it, I will gladly step aside, but I'm happy to do it if nobody wants to, then that's perfectly fine.
But it's during the workday, you said, right?
It is during the workday, yeah. I mean, I'm sure that accommodations could be made and we could possibly change it if somebody's not available during the workday. That just happened to be when we did it while I served on it last year.
Yeah, I can't make a commitment.
Yeah,
during
no,
workday.
understood. Understood.
After it, sure, but.
Yeah. Okay,
I'll do it with Dustin.
Yeah?
So, yeah.
okay, great, thank you, Ed. All right, well then, well, that takes care of that. So let's see, then the, sort of the last substantive thing on the agenda was, I just wanted to bring up the opportunity for us as committee members to talk about what kind of topics we would like to discuss this year. You know, if there are things outside of the normal business that we do, you know, that you'd like to, you know, talk about within the committee and, you know, with input possibly from the town offices or the public. You know, I know maybe not last year, the year before, some disclosure, non-disclosure agreements were, you know, so I'm just throwing it out there, stuff like that. If folks have something, and you don't have to say it now, you know, think about it, but I just wanted to give the opportunity that if there are things that, you know, folks think falls within our purview that we should talk about, I'd like to hear it, and we could put it on the agenda and do it.
Are there any examples from prior years of things that have been done that are unrelated to the budget?
Well, I'm sorry, the non-disclosure agreements, I mean, those are related to the budget in that they were they're taxpayer funded.
Right.
You know, and you're using taxpayer money to, anyway, to put forth the agreement. And that's why, because you are 100% correct, it really needs to be within the purview
Right,
of
and
the
that-
budget and finances, yes.
Yep.
But what were you going to say?
I was going to say, there was something that Sasha had mentioned before she had left, and I don't know if she, you know, debriefed everything that she had, but she did ask me at the end there that there was something that she wanted to work on with the school budget and stuff, and starting to take a look at something like that.
Okay.
I don't know if that was anything that she mentioned to you or whatever.
I don't recall, but I can talk to her and find
Yeah.
out what it was.
See what it was.
Yeah.
We never really got the ball rolling on it. but-
Okay. Okay, good.
That would be something that we would normally be doing anyway, but it might be something that before on other years, we have divvied ourselves up a little bit and had people assigned particular projects that we knew we were going to crop up, like the school budget or something particular like this year, perhaps thinking about how we might fund a new school.
So
That's going to be
that's where,
a big thing on the table.
that's what I was thinking
And in
of.
previous years, there have been other large things like the Stevens estate. Now,
Right.
that got, you know, resolved and has moved forward, but poor Jen, we tortured her by throwing her over there. But nevertheless, it was really fabulous that we had one member who was
Right.
paying attention to those meetings or going to those meetings. And like, I looked at school committee meetings and, you know, and I paid attention to that, and other people have gone to other meetings in other towns, just so that they could come back and say, well, I witnessed that meeting, I was at the meeting, this is what they discussed, this is the impact that they think has. It's just kind of helpful.
Well,
to have a
and I
report.
think even, so that's exactly what I was thinking, and those are tremendous examples, so thank you. And even if necessary, we could meet as a committee and have someone, and ask folks
Absolutely.
to come in and
Yes.
talk to us as a group as well, not just
Yes.
necessarily viewing other committees, but
Yep.
that is exactly what I was
It's
thinking.
kind of a combination of both,
Right.
obviously.
I was thinking, and it hits on the two things you said. One, the Stevens estate, there's a big change now, right, with
Yes.
how that's going to be operating going forward. And my understanding is that there was like a 6-month period between like town meeting and probably about now or soon, where they were sort of putting things into play. But I think that's a whole 180 and total change in the way that they're operating. So I would love to see somebody come in and explain to us how this is actually
Perfect.
playing out and working. I know that's part of our normal budget anyway, but I
Yeah.
think that's important for us to get our arms around early, just to understand it and understand the impacts it might have on the overall budget.
I think the shift happens in October.
Is that what, yeah,
Yeah.
I sort of lost the thread on that.
Yeah.
I took a mental break from the Stevens estate.
Deserved. Deserved.
But then the other thing that jumped to mind is, you know, I know that we've traditionally had one or maybe two people focus on the school committee, but with their whole planning process for the capital plan and potential new buildings and the information that they've been releasing over the summer, I think it would be interesting to hear from them about their plans on that track. And, you know, it looks like they're on a plan to do similar to the prior capital plan, where it's 1 year looking for approval for design and then the actual development,
Yeah.
and they're gonna get themselves on that track. But we've been very proactive in talking through that already as a committee, but I think we need to stay on top of that and maybe just catch up early on what they're doing.
Yeah,
and where
sooner
they're
rather
not.
than later.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. It's a huge issue,
And
so.
devote some committee time specifically to that. I
Yes.
think that's fantastic. It's another good idea.
And we might ask the town manager to present what's going on perhaps with the middle school fields. You know, because we need to know, is that going to be part of what's going on in 2022?
Yep.
And I know a lot of monies have already been allocated, but has anything shifted or changed or been put aside? And what happens with those funds when that happens? I mean, those are questions I actually probably should know the answers to. But
Well, that was held up in litigation, right? So that is
Yes.
coming out of litigation.
I
So,
believe
yeah.
it's some of it has been resolved. I'm not 100% sure. And she could say like, no, we can't talk about that yet, but that will be good to know.
No, but there's a possibility, I mean, we could ask Suzanne Egan to come in
Yeah.
and to walk us through
You know,
as well.
what's the deal? You know, what do we need to know? What's new?
Does that estimate hold up?
Exactly. Well, yeah,
Exactly.
there's no way. Oh, the other big topic that has been ongoing, of course, is the new senior center. If you've gone by there, you can see the houses that have been, I didn't realize it was houses right on the street,
I had
did
no
you?
idea that
I
that
drove
house
by and
even
went,
was there.
oh my gosh,
said the same thing.
that's the properties that they bought. It was, I was surprised, but I should have known. I mean, of course, what other houses, right? But
Big.
just like, what else, is everything done? Is our part of it complete? You know, what's gonna happen with that? Is it all wrapped up? And,
Yep.
What else
Good.
oh, the other one, Royal Crest.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Trying to think, was there any other? It's a lot of topics, and they're
Yeah.
big.
right, but I think it's important for us to talk about them and to
Oh,
dive
yeah.
into them, and
We
so,
have
I
to.
mean, I think that's exactly what we should be doing, which is why I wanted to have this discussion. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that we have 6 topics so far.
There's other housing things. I don't know how much they impact us as far as the finance committee. Like the housing that was supposed to go into by the mills. Do you know?
Avalon?
Avalon. Whether that's just been on hold or whether that's, I don't even, that's more planning board stuff. I
Yeah.
don't know whether that impacts us at all.
Giving me nightmares.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just kind of curious as to what's going on with that, but I probably should just talk to Ayton and say, hey, dude, what's going on?
No, but I mean, I don't think it's a stretch for us to ask for some updates on that stuff,
yeah, I
just
mean-
because it affects the financial health of the
Yeah,
town.
I mean, it's like, what are the impacts? That's
Yeah,
all.
Lynn would often give us an update on what they expect to come in for permitting and
Yep.
things
Yes,
like that. I
true.
could see this like easily slotting into an update on
That's true.
that, right?
And
And
then, of
maybe
course-
the status of the money coming in from the
From-
development at Amazon as well.
Exactly.
Like, there's a lot of big projects in town right now.
That's
It
right.
might be
Yeah.
helpful to lump
I mean,
them all
the
together.
full force of permitting came through, I believe, in the last several months for Amazon, which is quite the boon. And the other big pot of money, of course, is what is being resolved with the money from the federal government for COVID, you know, I mean, because the last we talked about it, there's a chunk of money going towards the schools, obviously, another chunk going into the municipal budget, and it was complicated as to how those monies could be spent. And poor Lynn was trying to tease out what it was that you could allocate for. And that's because, now I'm thinking of it, one of the big issues is how much of the money could be put towards anything new with the schools. And I think I think it's probably very limited, but that would be a really interesting update to see.
Yep.
What can happen with that.
Good.
I don't think, what other monies that we have coming in, Jen?
No, but that was a big question mark the last time we met.
Yes.
Was how could they use it? And
Because
what
it
would
was
be?
just so
Yeah.
ambiguous. Even in the piece of paper, she says, well,
Yeah.
you read it, and it's like, you know, it wasn't really clear. I think Columbia Gas we're pretty much done with.
I think so.
Trying to think if there's anything else.
I mean, it might also just be interesting to ask Lynn or Melissa to come and give us an update and like what's on their mind? Like,
Yeah.
what are they thinking of and what are the big, you know,
Yeah.
in addition, like, is there something that we're not thinking of that we should be?
We can definitely do that as well. Okay, good. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 things.
Sorry, I'm
We-
really sorry.
Sorry,
Chris
Lynn.
is, you're giving us extra meetings
I
now.
know. But it is, it's a lot.
It is, there is.
And they're huge projects and
Yeah.
emotionally charged projects. I
Mhm.
mean, Royal Crest has just stirred up a lot of people, just like the Stevens Estate did. You wouldn't think that would necessarily be so, but it is true. People feel very strongly about it, so you gotta have a good understanding so you can explain to people things properly,
I
so.
think you're absolutely right. All right.
What do you want to talk about, Deb?
No, I think you hit on the things that I was thinking of, so I'm good. I think we're covered here. And certainly as things come up throughout, the next few weeks, we can add to this list. That's not a problem. It's a dynamic list. It doesn't have to be, a period does not have to be put on it tonight, for sure. So,
Oh, something will come up.
yep.
Always does.
All right. All right, good. Well, listen, that is all we had on the agenda. So I don't know, I'll open it up, see if anybody has anything else that they'd want to talk about or any questions or anything.
Are we sticking?
Oh, it's not you, Ed.
Are we sticking to the Tuesday schedule? I know we
So
debated that.
Jillian and I are working on, that's a great question. Jillian and I are working on that now. Because we moved to this room, which is a little bit more in higher demand, we're still trying to figure it out, what a regular day time is going to look like. And truthfully, it may not be every other week at Tuesday night. It might have to jump around a little bit because, like I said, the room is in high demand.
We can't use the school anymore?
We can, but I believe at our last committee meeting, there was a strong desire to use this room.
Oh, no, I love this.
Yeah.
No, this
we
this
can-
is way more comfortable.
We
but-
can use the school
Okay.
whatever we want to, and we
Okay.
could, I'm sure, use the police department or
Yeah.
Stevens Memorial Library, but I took from the last meeting that folks really wanted to be here, so,
Yeah, I like
that's what I'm trying to accommodate.
Sounds good.
So that's why I don't have a full schedule of our meetings yet either.
Okay.
Is the idea like every other week, or do you have any sort of ballpark of what to expect? Monthly or-
I think it would not deviate significantly from years past.
Remind me.
That was my way of not, that was, I was getting around that answer, Jen.
Once a month.
Once-
Until like.
That's what I was
going
gonna say, is once a month until about February or March is what I was
And then
thinking.
it's like
That's what
every other day.
No. Then it's every other week, maybe. But yeah, no, but once a month
Okay,
until then.
that's what I was thinking, but
Yeah.
I wasn't quite sure. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Well, the expectation is those closer you get to town meeting, the more like, oh, we need another meeting. And there's just no escaping it. It just happens. You just do your best.
So, yeah, let's not try and scare the new people
That's
off
not
quite
scary.
yet.
It's all good. It's all good.
I actually think it's not as big a lift as many of the other committees in town.
Oh, I agree.
After serving on the planning board.
Yeah, that I think has got to be the biggest, or one of.
The planning board? Planning board was intense.
Yeah.
Gives you a good appreciation for what important work they do.
Yep.
Can I ask like a general question though, but the finance committee doesn't create a budget, right? It's the other, the town manager creates a budget, the school committee, right, creates a budget, maybe the select board creates a budget, they try to reconcile them all, and our role is more to sort of try to poke holes in it, I guess, or not, maybe not say it like that, but more oversight of these different budgets and how they're coming together, but we don't actually create our own budget, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's approved at town meeting, right? And
Right.
the select board we make a recommendation on it, but we're more advisory and trying, asking questions and.
We sort of represent the legislative body, right, which is the citizens and ask the questions that they would ask. I would ask some of the longer term members maybe to wait.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like, on behalf of the members of town meeting, people who go to town meeting and the citizenry, anybody who wants to put themselves out there and vote, is we need to give them decent explanations. And a lot of that explanation, of course, comes from the town manager and our finance director and all that, but that is part of what we do.
Right.
Is analyze the budget and try to make sense of it and make recommendations. Because, we might say like, I think this is fiscally irresponsible to go this route. Or did you know if we handled it this way, it would be better? Or we could do it this way, or this, that, those sorts of things. I mean, we are so lucky that we have such a good financial team within the town hall right now. It makes our job, what we do, just so much easier. They're just wonderfully transparent, and again, Lynn is award-winning. I mean, she's great. So there's nothing that we ask that they don't provide for us. So that makes everything much, much easier. But we do have the citizens to, we're responsible to help them understand what the budget is before they vote on it.
And to ask the questions that, need to be asked.
Yeah, I mean, like, because I'll have people call up and say, well, what did you do about this? Well, don't you think this? And so you might have folks that call you and ask you, can you ask these questions or can you find out? And that's reasonable, and that's actually a great way to be tasked.
Exactly why we're here.
Yeah.
And then it sort of all culminates. I didn't realize this my first year, which is, you may already know this, and so it might be obvious, but I didn't realize this when I first signed on, was that for town meeting, at the town warrant, we write a letter that explains the different parts of the budget and what our thinking is on each of them. So we sort of all dive into one particular area and then work on that document together at the end.
And even, that's a great point, and even a step further than that is we actually, as a committee, will make a recommendation on each part, on each warrant article at town meeting. So, if we're gonna make recommendations, we have to understand it and understand the part it plays in the larger puzzle. So, does that help? Yeah, good.
Yeah, pretty much what I thought, but just.
You knew.
Well, just from having attended town meeting, and.
Yeah.
In the past, we've had like heads of departments across the town actually come and present their piece of the budget. I mean, literally, like the chief of police or the fire chief or DPW have sat down. I mean, we don't always do that. I mean, it depends on where we're at on the board, and it really depends up to what the chair wants to do. But that's not uncommon either. So that you can say, like, well, how do you feel about how the town manager has presented your side of the budget? Do you feel your needs are met? And actually, it's kind of valuable to listen and say, like, what do you need? Are you sure your needs are being met? It's like, how do you feel about your budget? How are you functioning? And so that's another thing that we can choose to do or not to do.
And I think as we learn more, we can have that discussion, whether that's all departments, some departments, or no departments.
Yep.
I think, we need to be comfortable with the budget and our recommendations, and if that means we call and ask questions, then that's fine. That's what we're here to do. Okay. Well, that's it. The last thing on our agenda is to adjourn. So if no one else has any comments or questions, I would entertain a motion.
I'll move to adjourn.
And do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much. Good job on your first meeting. No, thanks.